Thanks for coming to Actions in Lightning. We want to talk to you about all the cool ways you can use actions from Salesforce in Lightning Experience. But before we talk about the cool stuff, you guys need to see this again. So no purchasing decisions based on future stuff that we're going to tell you about here, and all of that. So I'm Kamyar, and I'm the product manager for Actions. And I want to take some time and tell you all about the things that we've been working on and some of the things that we are working on that you can look forward to. But let's talk about Lightning. I'm sure you've heard this throughout this Dreamforce. We're really proud of Lightning Experience. We're building a platform. The platform is centered around an experience that's tailored to the users. We focus on user experience. We want to give a common experience across any device format. But it's more than that. It's a platform. So what you build in Lightning works in all these different user experiences like mobile, desktop, etc. And what that allows us to do is turn it into an ecosystem where you can collaborate with each other, where partners can build apps, make it available to customers, and everyone can take advantage of all the great things that we're offering in a very consistent way, so that from a user's perspective, when they are using our applications, no matter where it's coming from, whether it's something that you have created for your orgs or a partner has created an app, it all looks like it belongs and it fits together and it's uniform. So how do actions fit into this? You're here because you've used the actions, and from our perspective, these are the things in Salesforce that makes it better for users to take advantage of functionality. What we want to do is offer actions that are smart. We want to give users a way to shortcut their steps, do different actions based on relevance. And when you make them fast, you can give your users a way to cut down on the time that it takes for them to do repetitive tasks. So by being able to cut down the amount of time that it takes to do data entry, you are able to give your users a smart and fast way to carry out their daily activities. And because it's all one platform, you can do it, as I said before, anywhere, mobile, desktop, and you can take advantage of that. So let's look at some of the different kind of actions that we have. For those of you who are familiar, there's a lot of actions that we have in Salesforce Classic that also work in Lightning. And the majority of them do. So we have actions that work on records. You can create child records. You can create brand new records. You can update them. And it's a great way to, again, let your users quickly enter data in Salesforce and then go about their daily activities. But we also have custom actions. These are really powerful features that we've built for advanced use cases. You might be familiar with some of them. So I'm sure everybody here has used Visualforce or knows about Visualforce. How many of you have built Visualforce pages and or built Visualforce pages with actions? Awesome. You can build Visualforce pages and you can assign them to actions. So I encourage everyone who raised their hand when we talked about Visualforce pages to also look into ways you can turn them into actions. They're really powerful. In many ways, they're a better user experience because you're not redirecting your user from what they're doing to some other page and then bringing them back. You can bring up a Visualforce page with an action, with a button. It works in mobile. It works on desktop. And it's a great way. We also, for those of you who might be partners here, this is primarily a thing that we see a lot of partners use. They leverage our Canvas functionality, where they can take the functionality that they've built on their platform, and then they bring it into Salesforce without having to basically duplicate everything. Leverage your platform within Salesforce through action, through Canvas, and expose it as an action. But we're also introducing a new tool. It's very powerful. They're called Lightning Actions. They're built on something that I'm sure you've heard about a lot today and throughout this Dreamforce, which is Lightning Components. So this is the new way to develop in Lightning Experience, is by building Lightning Components. And what Lightning Actions do is exactly what I described with Visual Force pages. So you can build a Lightning component, and instead of making it a page or adding it to a page as a component, you can launch it with an action. So it's really powerful. And one of the key advantages of it is that these actions can be global. So if you switch to Lightning Experience, you can now have actions that your users will have access to in Lightning Experience from the header, and they don't have to necessarily navigate to different record pages to find a particular action so that they can do it. If it's something that they use and leverage all the time, they have access to it from the global header. So let's talk again about why this is all useful. Well, speed and accuracy of data is really important. So by leveraging our declarative actions, where you can go in and create a quick action by giving it predefined values, and by being able to specify formulas for certain fields or making fields required, you're essentially standardizing your users around how you want your data to be captured. And that's really powerful because then you don't have to worry about people entering too little information or inaccurate data. And we encourage you to do that and take advantage of our declarative solutions. But there's also a lot of complex business processes that I know our customers and our partners address through actions. And for those, I want to refer again to the ones that I was talking about a second ago: Lightning Actions, Visual Force Actions, and Canvas. And these can be used to address multi-step processes, complex use cases, and also for partner apps. They're packageable, and they're a great way to get your users a better way and a speedier way to get their work done. And to talk about an example, actually several examples of how this all fits in and some of the use cases, I want to introduce Michael Stewart from our customer Amazon Marketplace. Michael has been working with us, and I talked to him about Lightning Actions, and he's here to share some stories with you.
Cool. Thanks, Gamia. So again, I'm Michael Stewart. I'm a Salesforce architect for Amazon, working on the marketplace group there. So just a quick intro. If you've ever bought anything on Amazon from like Mike's Books or any third-party seller, those are sellers that our team have recruited using Sales Cloud and Salesforce. For a little bit of context, we have been using Salesforce for 14 years. We've managed to amass quite a bit of technical debt over those 14 years. We had a couple sessions talking about basically starting a new org and starting fresh, and that's what we're going through right now. We're actually launching a new org in December, and we are going all in on Lightning. We figured it didn't make sense from a change management and training perspective to do this relaunch and then only retrain our users in Lightning in 6 months or a year. So we've been a real kind of early adopter on Lightning components, and we're really excited to see this new being able to invoke Lightning components from Lightning Actions. It's really helped us out. We are a pretty small team, so we have myself and one other developer that are supporting 3,000 users across 11 marketplaces. We have a number of program managers and awesome admins, so we do want to stay as declarative as we can, and we do use out-of-the-box actions. But there definitely are areas where we need advanced kind of business logic. And as a developer, as an architect, I love being able to mirror the same user experience, whether it's out-of-the-box functionality or it's custom code that we write. Our users shouldn't need to be able to differentiate, if this is code or this is config. We just want it to all look and feel the same. So we have a couple examples of actions that we are using in our org. The first was just really the simplest to set up, creating a child account. We have sellers that have subsidiaries or are selling in multiple regions. And so we wanted to be able to create a child account. We pre-populate a number of fields, link the parent account to each other. And that was done with 100% declarative. It was really easy to set that up. A few of the other areas where we've needed to go into code because of our complex business logic are managing opportunity products. So being able to edit those in bulk, quickly add or remove them. We wanted to make that as seamless for our user. A few of these you may have seen are actually on the Lightning roadmap from Salesforce. But with our launch timeline in December, we wanted to do that custom, and then we will definitely reevaluate when those become more out-of-the-box functionality. But it was something that we needed by December, and definitely with these Lightning actions, it's something that we're able to deliver on. We have one more on terms of like the post-sales handoff. So our sales reps close a deal, they win it. We have an action that then is creating a case, handing it off to our onboarding team to do all of the technical onboarding to get that seller onto the platform, upload their inventory, pictures, all of that. Now, what I'm going to demo here today is our lead conversion action. It's, again, another area that I know Salesforce is working on for out-of-the-box functionality. But in our current org, we have a Visualforce page for lead conversion. And we have a lot of features and functionalities that our users have come to know and love. And we wanted to make sure that that experience was still there when we launch our new Lightning org. So with that, I'm going to jump into this dev org here. Hopefully, I'm still good here, and maybe get this a little bit bigger. So I've got Mark Benioff here. He is selling his cloud socks online, and we would love to have Mark selling his cloud socks on the Amazon Marketplace. Just a quick little shout out. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Amazon. We're always hiring. I think we have 40-something Salesforce jobs. So amazon.job/Dreamforce. If you're interested, check that out. But I'm going to actually step back a little bit and talk about the decisions and design I went through as a Salesforce architect when I think about how we are going to implement the lead conversion process in Lightning with Lightning components. So many of you are maybe familiar with the kind of out-of-the-box functionality, but for those of you who aren't, here is the out-of-the-box vanilla lead conversion screen in Lightning. We noticed that users are having to manually pre-populate opportunity names. This account creation, if there is no account, you kind of go into a new account and start to go through this additional wizard. And with having our custom Visualforce page, we wanted to do some of the automation for them. As you'll see in a minute, we have an engine that's actually going to be recommending opportunity products and allowing them to manipulate those before they even convert the lead. So rewind a couple of months ago, know that we're going to do a custom lead conversion. What tools are available as a developer, as an architect? I know that you can redirect the lead conversion page, but that redirect was limited to Visualforce pages. There was not JavaScript buttons available for very good security reasons, so there was no way that we could actually implement interfacing with the DOM directly. When we looked at that custom button to maybe redirect to that Visualforce page, it just didn't seem to fit into the user experience. It's a new page. It's kind of back in that Visualforce-centric, single page, or page-centric as opposed to single-page applications. So while it would have fit our business needs, we kind of wanted to go all in on Lightning with the design, the modal pop-ups. You'll notice the convert is modal, edit is modal. Basically, all of the interactions in Lightning have that look and feel that we wanted to replicate. So before Lightning Quick Actions were available, we knew we couldn't use the out-of-the-box convert. We didn't want to go down the Visualforce route, even though you could style it with the Lightning design system and things like that. So we looked at the next best thing, and that was to have a Lightning component that we just kind of placed randomly on the page. And so that does do the modal pop-up. It calls our engine, which gives some recommendations around what products and services for what marketplace this seller might be a good fit for. So many of you may know you can sell your products on Amazon, but we also have Fulfillment by Amazon, or FBA, where we actually handle all the fulfillment and basically provide that warehouse service for you. We have sponsored products. We have a number of products and services that we're trying to constantly get our sellers to use. So we wanted it for a rep, when they're working with this lead, we wanted it to be very easy for them to quickly add products. Maybe they wanted to expand this seller into Canada as well, and just get those opportunity products predefined for them. We wanted to automate and standardize the naming convention, so we didn't want reps to always have to manually change the opportunity name, and we wanted to give them a final pass of doing any data updates. If they got a better phone number, email address, we wanted them to be able to edit all those records right there. So technically that worked. It solved the business requirements, but I couldn't wrap my mind around this user experience of training them that for some of your actions, you go to these buttons. For some of your other actions, there's kind of this random section. It just didn't really feel right. It seemed a little bit off. And so we actually worked with our success manager as we were doing this Lightning rollout. And Joel put us in touch with Kamyar. And I remember that call. It was a month or two ago. I'm describing our use cases. I'm trying to make the sale of, hey, man, we need to be able to invoke these modal windows. We need to be able to have Lightning components kind of be a first-class citizen and behave just like everything else. And I'm probably halfway through my pitch, and he cuts me off. And he says, you know what? I'm going to make you a very happy man, because in the winter release, you can actually invoke Lightning components from a Lightning action. And I told him then it was like, Christmas came early in September because we had all these use cases, and it seemed a little bit janky. And so as soon as we got off that call, I think spun up a pre-release org, looked at implementing the interface that's needed to actually do that, and then ported that same action over to this convert lead action. So it's up there, the button, it's with all of its friends. It's still that same modal look and feel. It's still calling that engine for recommendations. It's still letting them make any of the updates that they need to do. But it's definitely in the right place. It's in its right home. And it's able to convert the lead just like that. We can drill into the opportunity. And sure enough, we can see those 3 opportunity products are already there for that op. So I'll definitely be around here after for questions. But with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Kamyar.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Great demo. OK, so you heard Mike also reference JavaScript buttons. I've been talking a lot about JavaScript buttons at this Dreamforce, leading up to this Dreamforce, more or less for the last 6 or 7 months. And excited to tell you that we have a solution, the Lightning actions that you just saw, that are a good alternative, or better alternative than JavaScript buttons, because they don't have some of the security issues that most inline JavaScript buttons do. And they fit in better in the UI. You saw Mike's demo. The components that he built look like Lightning. I mean, it's just, you couldn't even tell these are custom. And everything that we're giving you for Lightning, the ecosystem, the tools, the component sets that allows you to build better tools and custom features is really the thing that's going to drive us to ask you to finally wave goodbye to JavaScript buttons and start creating declarative actions, some of these custom actions, and start moving your users to Lightning experience. And with that, I want to introduce Anastasia. Anastasia is one of our developers and software engineers who actually worked on Lightning actions. So she's going to share some more demos with you and talk about some of the use cases that we found out about as we were talking to customers about how they use JavaScript buttons, some of the advanced use cases that we felt you couldn't do easily with the declarative solutions that we give you. So Anastasia?
Thank you, Kamyar, for that introduction. So we definitely prefer that our customers use declarative actions. They're easy to set up and maintain. And like we mentioned earlier, they're fast, smart, and you can use them on mobile and desktop devices across all the formats you need. But we do understand that declarative actions don't cover every single complex use case. So for that, with the Winter 17 release, we are releasing Lightning Actions. And Lightning actions are built, the Lightning framework is built on open source technologies such as HTML5 and JavaScript. So you can keep doing the similar things you were doing with JavaScript buttons previously, but now with Lightning actions. And Lightning actions are also similar to Visualforce actions, if you guys have used those before, where the body of the action is a Visualforce page. So here the body of the action will be a Lightning component. And I've created several actions to show you guys how you can do this in Lightning Experience. The first one is a create test user action, and this one is showing field validation and how it auto-populates data and interacts with the user. And throughout the whole process, also provides feedback and a confirmation message at the end as well. The next one is a Visualforce mass action, where you can perform work on multiple records at the same time. And this was not previously available in Lightning Experience. And finally, I have a send SMS action, which is integrating with a third-party API, in this case, Twilio, to perform some work. So I'm going to start my demo. Make it bigger. Let me see. OK. So my first use case is, say you are doing various research projects, and you need to create test subjects for that. And using Salesforce, here you're studying Gmail usability specifically, so you need to create some test users who have Gmail accounts. So I've created a Lightning action that does this for us. Here is this create test user action. And the first thing you will notice here is that I'm using SLDS styling, Salesforce Lightning Design System. And it's the text fields, the buttons, the banner at the top. It's all very easy to use. There's a rich UI component library you can use for that, and great documentation online to set all that up. So I'm going to start typing in a first name. And my Lightning component here is listening for me to click tab to populate the nickname field. We want our test users to remain fairly anonymous, but still be uniquely identified. So I will click tab, and we can see it took my first name, populated the field, added a unique random number at the end. I will continue with the fields. And I will type a short password and click save. So first thing we'll notice, we have some validation errors. Since we are testing Gmail accounts, it does not like our email field, so I will fix that to be a Gmail account. And the password is a little too short, so I will add some more characters to the end of that. And click save again. So now we see the email is correct now, but the password needs a number. I will add a number here, and click save. Sorry, I think I need to just refresh my page. And we have a custom confirmation message at the end. And if I go to my related list, we can see this new test user was created. So to recap, we had our Lightning component, Lightning action, that auto-populated some fields based on what the user was typing in. We had validation throughout the whole process and feedback, and a confirmation message at the end. And the cool thing here is this was all done, all that stuff I mentioned earlier was in the Lightning component. So it was all on the client, and it wasn't until my form was correct that we took that data and sent it to the server and created a record in Salesforce. So it's very fast.
Sorry, Anastasia.
So next, we will look at a mass action. So our customers love working on lists to perform work on multiple records. It's faster. And previously, you could create a Visualforce page that did some work on records, create a custom button for it, and put it on a search layout. And now you can access these same custom buttons in Salesforce or in Lightning Experience. So I'm going to select a couple opportunities here. And we can see here's our mass action. You will notice that is the Salesforce classic styling. And that's because I've literally done nothing to this action. You can just keep using your pre-existing Visualforce actions in Lightning Experience because they work now. So you can make some modifications to some of these fields, change the date, save. And I've created another action just to enhance that Visualforce page to use Salesforce Lightning Design System. And here it is. So I added this icon, the different coloring on each row, and stuff like that. And this was really easy to do. You can just take your Visualforce page, add some Lightning, some styling to it, and it's, like I said, it's all documented online. It's really easy to use, and then it looks more appealing. But this step is, it's not required because it was all working before as well. So that was a Visualforce mass action. And now let's take a look at another cool Lightning action. So here I'm actually going to open another contact and say, so many of our customers have needs to send messages to their clients. So say we have like a chauffeur business and we need the drivers to text their clients to know that their car is ready. And they want to leave the clients to be fairly anonymous. So they're going to have the drivers send the messages through Salesforce. So I have a send SMS Lightning action here that does this for us. So I will open it. Oh, this one does not have a phone number. Let me choose another field. So make note, there's a phone number right here. And I will open up the action. And it auto-populates that field with the action off the record. So, and that's going to work, as long as there's a phone number on the field. It will take that one and populate the phone field. And I know I mentioned earlier that they want to be anonymous, so you could remove the field off of the record and off the action, and it's still going to work. So I'll go ahead and send a message. And you can see we also have a custom confirmation message at the top. And what happened behind the surface here is that I'm actually making a call out to the Twilio API. If you guys haven't used Twilio before, it's a third-party app you can use to make voice calls, send text messages, voicemails, stuff like that. And so my Lightning component is just making call outs to that and sending messages. So I'm going to switch over to my phone now. And OK. So we can see we have a new message. Why is it typing? Oh, not used to this. OK. So, and there's, I've been sending messages all day, so we got the message from the phone. And I'm also going to go ahead and open Salesforce1. And this is my contact detail page. And you can see in the action bar, the first action showing up there is that send SMS action. So you can use it across all your platforms. And one cool thing on the phone here is if I click on the phone field, it's actually going to integrate. It's integrated with my phone and trying to make a call. And that's because I'm using the UI output phone field from the SLDS styling. So I don't have to do anything additional to that. That library just integrates with your phone for you. So that's another cool thing with Lightning components. And I can go ahead and just send a message back to using my API. We have an update, and then you can see at the top, we just got that message. So to recap, we were able to take some data, populate the field, and then integrate with a third-party API to send the message. And thank you. Back to you, Kamiar.
Thank you, Anastasia. They cut off my mic because I was choking up here. All right, thank you, Anastasia. Great demo. OK, so to quickly recap the actions that are available in Lightning Experience and some of the things that we're working on now, I've gone back a few releases. I started mentioning the feed post actions and action links because they're near and dear to my heart. My team built it. They're a feature that's really focused for chatter. But the reason I mention them is we're also planning to do things with them in the future. So I encourage you to check them out. They're really powerful, especially action links if you're working with third-party integration. But over the last few releases, we've done a lot to bring actions functionality into Lightning Experience and Salesforce1 and give you the tools that you need to build a better experience for your users or enhance your partner apps. And those are the ones that I've highlighted, such as the customization of actions. They're now totally independent for Salesforce1 and Lightning Experience versus Classic. You can have your own list of actions. We also started supporting custom URL buttons, which a lot of our customers use for navigation and redirection. So some of those use cases now work in Lightning Experience. Some of the advanced use cases that people affectionately call hacks don't work because we're trying to stop hacks in Lightning Experience and give you better tools that are declarative, kind of hold us to doing our jobs and giving you things that you don't have to hack. So talk to us if you need functionality. We'd love to build it. And this release was a big one for us. We talked about Lightning Actions in our session. We also updated our functionality to start supporting visual force mass actions because we know a lot of users like to work with records when they're on lists. And to quickly touch on the future functionality that we have on our roadmap, I mentioned global actions where you can start accessing all these Lightning component actions and others in Lightning Experience from the header so that you only have to have one version of the action instead of several for each entity because your users happen to work in accounts, opportunities, and contacts. And then as we continue to move forward with doing more with actions, we want to give you the power of Flow and Process Builder, where you can use our visual tools to handle complex business processes and make them available to users so that you can start it with an action. And then, as I said, we have plans for action links for third-party integration, as well as supporting Lightning actions that we just showed you to also work with multiple records. If you're interested in JavaScript buttons, I've been doing sessions all week. I see some familiar faces. My last session is tomorrow at 11:30. It's short, 20 minutes. I covered the use cases for JavaScript buttons and how you can start using some of the things that we showed you today. You can find a link if you want to really deep dive into JavaScript buttons. That link takes you to a blog post that we have with screenshots, and we'll make some of the examples here available on the blog as well, along with the code, so you can check it out yourself in terms of how we built some of these that we just showed you today. And if you have any questions, we'd love to talk to you either now or we can take individual questions down there if you want to hang around and talk to us about your particular use cases. Cool. Yeah. Who's going to run mics? And a mic volunteer. Thank you, Kevin.
Very impressive. I think this is what a lot of us have been waiting for and have not switched to Lightning because of some of these barriers. So I think this will solve that. Question: when Michael was talking, he kept saying the engine behind the scenes, the engine. And I kept thinking, oh, it's Flow. Oh, it's Process Builder. Is it Apex?
That is Apex right now.
So it wasn't all declarative?
No, I mean, that component was almost entirely code from the front end and the back end. Certainly customers, I've seen the big push for Einstein this year and Process Builder. Depending on how complex that logic is, you could implement it with the declarative tools. For our use case, we've had that engine in place with our classic org and the classic lead conversion, the visual force page. The back end logic there hasn't changed. But the front end component is where we're coding it and then just dropping it in to make it seem seamless for the user.
So am I understanding that Flow is not available right now? That's something in the future for these actions?
So Flow is available in Lightning, but to be able to let your users start a flow using a button is functionality that we're working on for a future release. So you can go build your flows, but the way you start them today is just like how you've been doing them. There's no way to, for us to give your users a button that lets them start it.
What about like headless flows?
Headless flows you can, because the custom URL buttons support doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the answer.
Thank you for
now.
the distinction.
Yeah.
So just to elaborate, headless flow means that you have a process that doesn't require any input from the user, or it can take its input directly from the data on the record or wherever it's being started. So it can just run. You can do that with custom URL buttons because you're essentially calling to an API with a URL. But the ones that I was talking about were the use cases where you need a data entry point for a user to, let's say, populate a couple of values in addition to a couple of other values from the record before you start your flow.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have a Lightning action, so on the component side, it's very obviously that you have an attribute and public one, which you can pop up, like the example with the phone number. But how you send or how you transfer, or how does the action know which data to transfer to the Lightning component when you define a Lightning action?
So there's two interfaces that you have to have defined to be able to use the Lightning action functionality. One is the force Lightning quick action interface, and then also Lightning quick action or Lightning action without header to get rid of like the title and the footer. So you have to implement both of those, and then in setup there's a new page on the action definition, has the drop down of Lightning components you could use that have that interface defined. And the second one, and I think all my examples use this, is the force has record ID. And so when you implement that, you can get access to everything on the record that you're currently on.
Okay, but that means that I cannot transfer custom data, which is not, say if I have data which is, or my Lightning component is not aware about the same object, because I just want to populate some data, I cannot do this then, right?
Sorry, can you elaborate a little bit more? Or do you know, Kevin, do you want to answer it?
So the case is you've got, for example, a list, user selects something, or rather clicks a button. You want to get that you accept as input into that, the record ID, and then it's your Lightning component. So you can use something like the Lightning data service to go fetch to the server to load up arbitrary records, fetch arbitrary field values, process it as you like, and then when they hit save or submit, call whatever action you'd like. So you're saying if you don't have a Lightning application, though? Oh, a custom application.
Okay, advanced use case. We'll talk to you over here about it, because these gentlemen here want to call it a day, and we're the last session. Definitely want to talk to you more about your particular use case. Any other questions?
So it is about the compatibility with Salesforce1.
Yes.
So our use case is based on the quick action within Salesforce1. We want to open up as a full screen of a Lightning component. We are experiencing a little bit of difficulties there because it forces, I believe, to open as a model within Salesforce1.
No, the one that Anastasia showed you with the phone number, the Twilio integration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's built with Lightning component as quick actions.
But it is on a landscape for the iPad instead of the
iPad.
Oh yeah, it will be a modal.
Yeah, it'll be a modal.
Yeah, so we like to have it in kind of full screen. Is that possible or no?
I don't know off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Okay, so probably I need to get you.
Yeah, we'll follow up with that too.